We've got big news and big changes coming to the precious metals market. Big events will happen next week, which will impact the price of gold, will impact the price of silver, just as Pippi, the silver cat, who will not leave me alone this morning. But first, we want to talk about what happened last week in the markets. We'll take a look at that, but most importantly, there is big, interesting events that we'll have next week, which will kind of paint the picture as we move into the coming months and quarters. I think there's some good news on the horizon for us. Let's get started right now. You want to know, are silver and gold going up or are silver and gold going down? Hey, I'm right there with you. I want to know as well. The best we can do is look at what's happened and then look at what's happening and put a roadmap together for ourselves. In terms of what's happened, last week was a decent week for gold, starting at $1,795 per ounce, ending the week at $1,809 per ounce, up about 1%. Now, the mining stocks didn't fare so well. The GDXJ, which tracks the junior gold mining companies, was actually down 4% for the week, ending at $35.70 per share. But it's so important. I want to reiterate this. We need to remember this, that just back in April of this year, the GDXJ was trading at $52. For the GDXJ to go back to where it was just back in April, it would need to go up almost 50%. And have you ever noticed that the gold and silver mining stocks, their prices are closely tied to the price of the metal? Sometimes they fluctuate a little bit like we had this week, but the general markets struggled this week, and that probably is the main contributing factor as to why the gold mining and silver mining stocks for that also struggled a little bit as well. Also, I pointed out last week, the mining stocks had gone on a terrific run. I think the GDXJ was a low of like 26 just 6 weeks ago and had rallied all the way to 37. It's normal for a bit of a pullback, even as something is going up, up, up. Remember, it never does it in an exact straight line. And what we want to see is that over time, it continues to go up, up, up. And I think that could be the case. But later in the video, I want to talk about what may be a pivot point or a sea change or a paradigm shift in terms of how the market may be looking at the economy and inflation as we head into 2023. Do you love silver? I love silver, and it had a good week, up almost 3%, starting the week at $23 per ounce, ending the week at $23.70 per ounce. However, just like with the gold mining stocks, the silver miners struggled a bit. They were down about 3% for the week. The SIL ETF ended the week at $28.50. Now, the S&P 500, the general market, where maybe we put a little bit of our money and the herd keeps all their money. It had a struggle this week as well, down almost 4%, according to my numbers, starting the week at 4,071, ending the week at 3,934. So the physical metals had a pretty good week, all things considered. I was kind of surprised. I don't know how you feel. I'm ready for a bit of a pullback, a bit of a consolidation. And maybe that's what we had this week. Maybe we will continue just higher and higher for the foreseeable future. It'll be interesting to find out, but we can't let ourselves get too rattled if we have a little bit of a correction in the metals. Easy for me to say. I'm the guy whose blood pressure goes up inversely to the precious metals price. Precious metal price goes down, my blood pressure goes up. But hey, this is my passion, probably yours as well. We love to follow these metals. If you get some value from my content, please subscribe right here. Turn on the little ring-a-ling-ding-a-ling bell. It's an honor for me that you join me here in the basement. It really is. This is where we come, to me and you, one-on-one, wherever you are in the world. This is your place, your home away from home, to talk about silver and gold. It's a big deal to me that you're here, and I hope you decide to come back. Let's wrap up on a few more things in the market, the general market, and then we're going to talk about these big stories, these big things coming up, and how that can affect the price of silver and gold. The dollar remains relatively high. It ended the week at 104.93. basically up a tiny bit. That didn't, provide a good tailwind for the price of silver and gold, but the dollar is still high. And don't forget, that's the dollar index. That compares the dollar to a bunch of other crappy currencies, the euro, the yen, right? It's, all the analogies. The dollar's the nicest horse in the glue factory, or the best patient in the hospice ward. The strong dollar is also creating havoc throughout the world, especially in the developing world. The dollar has been strong, right, because of the Fed's strong policy, but the world is still screaming that they can't deal with the dollar even at the levels that it's at right now. And when the dollar comes down, that's very, very good for the price of silver, the price of gold. The key 10-year bond yield remained about even for the week at about 3.5%. Mortgage rates are still high. And our favorite unicorn fart dust investment vehicle, Bitcoin, remained about even for the week. I don't know what to make about the cryptos. I don't know what you think about it. This whole situation, all this implosion going on, this Sam Bankman-Fried, it just is unbelievable what's going on. I'm now hearing people talk about the FTX implosion like it's the same thing that happened during the great financial crisis when Lehman went bankrupt. We'll see how that all plays out. You want something to be happy about? How about the fact that gold was up for the week? Let's zoom in on gold for just a few minutes. It has been performing very, very well. I believe, I don't know how you feel about this, but I believe gold is starting to sniff out a major paradigm shift in the market, how it's looking at inflation, how it's looking at the economy. And I'm going to make a more in-depth video on that subject later this weekend. But we also have to recognize that gold on an annual basis year to date has performed much, much better than almost any other asset class. The general stock market, real estate, bonds. Gold has been hanging tough this whole year and been doing so in a very difficult environment. Big money investors have been buying gold. Is that you? Are you one of those big money investors? And we also know that the central banks throughout the world have been accumulating gold at near record pace, or heck, record pace levels. And what's true for gold is true for silver on multiple levels. The future also looks very bright, wouldn't you say, for our old friend silver. We're going to need to buckle up, Buttercup, for next week because we've got two major events that are going to move the markets, going to affect the price of silver and gold. First, we're going to get CPI numbers, inflation numbers. The market will be hyper-focused on what those numbers look like. And after that, we're going to hear from the Federal Reserve. Jerome Powell and all of his little deputies are going to get together and decide how much they want to raise interest rates. The market is expecting 0.5%. They could surprise us with 0.75%. That would be bad for the price of silver and gold. And it wouldn't shock me, to be honest with you. However, I think we're going to get 0.5%. When it comes to the inflation numbers, I don't know. I think it'll be kind of in line with what they're thinking, but I do believe we're entering this period where there's a paradigm shift where the market, we're hearing so much more about worry about the economy slowing down, crashing, going into recession in 2023. But at the same time, have you noticed inflation hasn't gotten that much better? We're starting to hit this little sweet spot for precious metals, I believe, where no matter what happens with inflation, we're going to be in good shape. If inflation remains very high, that will mean that we have a slowing economy with high inflation. That's stagflation. I've told you 1,000,000 times that is the most fertile soil for the price of precious metals. If inflation starts to come down, that will signal to the markets that the Fed is winning their fight on inflation, but now that they're winning, they can loosen up a little bit. That also will be good for the price of precious metals. I don't know how you feel about that, but to me it looks like option A, good for precious metals. Option B, good for precious metals. But we both know one thing. We've been around a while, right? We know there's an option C, something we're not thinking about, and that could potentially be bad for precious metals. You know, I don't have a crystal ball, but I do appreciate you being here. Thanks for joining me today. I hope you're doing well. I'll look forward to seeing you next time.